Hello, me and my co-host Alex here are part of the hit podcast AquaFound. Say hello.
Hi.
Today we will be talking about a very interesting topic. Today we will dive into what the conservation of district of Southern Nevada is doing with their mission recently, with the concept of one water and understanding how all water sources are interconnected in a single continuous cycle.
So, what is the Conservation District of Southern Nevada?
The CDSN, the acronym, is a place where they are water conservation. They are the main people doing it inside this area of Las Vegas and everything here. Reno, Las Vegas, this is them. Okay? And most of one water is part of a competition they're doing.
So, what is this competition?
So this competition has the theme of one water. We will get to that later. But the theme is the whole competition is we are making posters and you are submitting them to them and the winner can get a prize.
Oh, what's the prize? So, what? How do I enter the competition?
You just get a form. You either bring, if you're in a class who is doing this, the whole competition, you just give it to your teacher and the poster. Or if you're not one, you just gotta give it to the board itself. But there's only a limited age range that you can do it.
So, what is the age range?
Kindergarten to 12th grade.
So, now that we've established the details of the contest, what is this theme of one water?
I can give it to you in a little bit of a real world examples. Have you ever wondered where the water you drink comes from?
I mean, yeah,
Or where the raindrops fall on your roof and eventually end up?
yeah.
The answers lies in the concept of watersheds and the one water principle. The principle is all water is interconnected.
How is it interconnected?
Using the water cycle, basically, and also with watersheds. The two work together.
So, what are watersheds?
Watersheds is the area of land that channels rainfall and snow melt into creeks, streams, and rivers, eventually leading to outflow points such as reservoirs, bays, and the ocean. These bodies of water are all connected, so every drop that falls becomes part of one water.
So, how does watersheds have anything to do with the water cycle? And what is the water cycle?
So watersheds are helping to keep the cycle moving. So water cycle is the repopulation of water, but the watersheds keeps water moving. And the water cycle is nature's way of recycling and purifying the Earth's limited supply of water. It's a never-ending cycle driven by the heat from the sun and the force of the gravity. You want to know how it goes?
Sure.
Step one is evaporation. The sun's radiant heat heats up water from oceans, lakes, and rivers, and even puddles, causing the water to evaporate and turn into water vapor. The vapor rise up into the atmosphere. As it goes up, it goes into condensation. As the vapor rises higher, it cools and condenses into tiny water droplets or ice crystals, forming clouds. This process is called condensation. The water droplets or ice crystals in the cloud becomes heavier and heavier until the gravity causes them to fall back down to Earth's surface as precipitation. This could be rain, snow, hail, or sleet. You know, whenever you're in a snowstorm, that's from the water cycle.
Yeah, so the snow is just those ice crystals forming instead of water droplets?
Yes, and that could be called from cooler air, cooler up there instead of being hotter, it's more cool. And finally, collection. The precipitation that falls gets collected in bodies of waters like the oceans, lakes, or rivers. Sometimes, if it's like drops into like a neighborhood, a watershed will go ahead and bring it back into one of those types, as well as soaking into the ground to become groundwater. Plants are also absorbing some of the waters throughout the clouds and throughout the roots. And then the cycle starts all over again with evaporations from these water sources. The water cycle in general is super important. It's resupplying the water that we barely have. The Earth's water has never been replenished. It's always the same water. So even now, if you drink a water bottle, that could be from hundreds of years ago. All water from Earth is being recycled all the time. Without this continuous recycling of water, freshwater sources would eventually dry up and life as we know it could not be sustained. So next time you look at the clouds, be glad that they're there. They're keeping you alive. Anything else you want to talk about?
Wow, that sounds insane. I'm kind of surprised. I didn't know it was that complicated. But with this water cycle, how do like households and stuff like that affect the water cycle with taking water from it and using it?
See, with households, they use water in multiple ways. Sinks, toilets, fridges. Sometimes fridges has water. Yep. And whenever you recycle that water, flushing toilet, draining the sink, that gets thrown into like a pump, which goes into a watershed, which is the sewers, and the sewers end up going to somewhere where it gets purified, everything, and then the cycle goes into a water cycle.
Oh, so it's just reused.
Yes, all water is reused.
Oh, I never thought of it like that. What happens to water that's just out there, like sprinklers or something like that, where it's spreading water on the ground? How is that recycled?
See, that's groundwater, and groundwater it's like goes into plants, and plants recycle that water into like sunlight. It gives us life, and the CO2 in the air contains some oxygen cells that can go ahead and bring out some water.
Well, thank you. This has been very informational.
Yeah, but there's still more to talk about. We could talk about how mountains get water down here, or how mountains even do watersheds in general, how that even works if you want to.
So, how do mountains play into this water cycle?
So mountains are a little bit different since mountains work with the water cycle more. Since mountains, the only way water can get up there is either, rain or snow going onto the top of a mountain and falling back down into a watershed. The raindrops fall on the ground and flow through the soil. Water soaks through the soil until it reaches groundwater, which is water that moves through spaces and soil and rocks on the ground. A lot of the water we use and drink every day comes from the water in the ground, as facts. All land across the entire Earth is basically a watershed. It's all made up of watersheds. Because all water we drink, they're technically all just one water.
So, since water is so precious, how do we conserve it?
I can tell you some ways you can conserve water. One way is to reuse cooking water. After you boil like pasta, vegetables, let the water cool, list it out, not boiling water anymore, and then give it back to your plants outside. And if you don't have plants, give it back to the lawn outside. If you don't have grass, I don't know how to help you. But if you have like any greenery around, just give it to that. Let the boiling water cool and then give it out. So you can reuse it and add nutrients to the soil. Another way is to turn off faucets when not in use. Don't leave faucets running. Like, what's the point? While brushing teeth, washing your face, or doing dishes. Turn it off when actually not using the water. So if you're not using the water, don't leave the faucet on. What's the point? Sweep instead of hosing. Use a broom to clean driveways and sidewalks instead of a water hose, which wastes water. Guys, it's a broom. It's not going to be 50 miles long. You can do it. I know you can. Run full loads. Wait until you have a full load before running the dishwasher or washing machine to maximize water usage per cycle. Pretty self-explanatory. Use mulch in gardens. Applying mulch around plants help retain soil moisture, reducing watering frequently. And since we live in a desert, that's really useful. Since I heard that we have a little bit of a water lowage system where you can't spray your water that much in a week. That would be really helpful with that situation. Another way is to harvest rainwater. Now, I know we barely get rainwater here, but when we do, collect the rainwater in buckets or barrels to use for watering the garden, reducing demands on local water sources. So when it does rain in the first 5 years of our lives, every 5 years, collect that rainwater. It could become useful later. Fix leaks promptly, like fast. Rarely check for any repairs, any leaks in faucets, pipes, and toilets to prevent wasted water. So you better go ahead and check, you know. And if it's something that you don't know how to fix, do not try to fix it yourself, folks. Get a plumber. Okay, it can never end up well. Anyway, time watering wisely. Water gardens when you know like they're dying or they need, and like have a schedule with them. During the cooler early mornings or late evenings to minimize evaporation. So like do it when it's not like burning hot in the summer. Do it when it's like 60 or 70 at night. If it ever gets that low, at like 7 o'clock in Las Vegas, water dead. Shorten shower times. Aim for a shortened shower. Yes, I love my 20-minute showers. They're not great for my water supply though, so I will be trying to shorten it down more and more. Plant native landscapes instead of getting those turf or like the I don't know what they call it, like the turf, like
AstroTurf.
astroturf. Yeah, instead of getting astroturf, actually keep your turf, and just like since it also helps with water and nutrients around the whole area, it helps keep like plant life better. And finally, the whole thing shows that like there's many ways to save different waters that you can do by yourself.
Although these are some like really good tips on conserving water, what does it really matter if it's just me doing it? Like, does it really make a difference?
Obviously, it does make a difference. It's like using carbon footprint. Sure, it might not feel like a difference, but it is. Since if everybody were to go ahead and conserve water, our water supply would be a lot. So instead of being like, not everyone else is doing it, you should too. You should feel like you need to set an example by starting yourself, by making the choice to conserve water yourself, and then trying to convince other your neighbors, your families to do it as well. So then you can get that trend starting around, and then eventually, like a whole ton of people start doing it, then it actually starts to make a big difference. Even the small changes in water use behaviors, like turning off the faucets when not in use or only running full loads of laundry or dishes, can have meaningful collective impact when practiced by many people. Combining water efficiency measures with a conservative mindset is the best approach to responsibly manage water sources.
Well, thank you. This has been very informational.
Yeah, I'll do a closing statement just, to make sure we round up the whole thing. So the water one water principle reminds us that all water sources are interconnected, and our actions in one part of the watershed can have ripple effects elsewhere. By understanding this concept, we can appreciate the importance in protecting and conserving our water resources for the benefits of all living beings on our planet. Join us next time on AquaFound as we explore the fascinating journey of water throughout the whole world and how it goes into the sky in general. Like how does water go into the atmosphere? We will talk about that next time. And the impact in our environment if it wouldn't be there. Thank you for having us. Alex, any final words?
Nope. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for the valuable information.
Yep. Have a good day, water fans.